Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp the Limp, and as you can see, we are back in front of Absolute Victory, our huge game that we've got going on right now. We're going to jump right back into it. Before we do, couple little adjustments for the game. Some of you guys, the designer actually I think has been commenting down in the videos, which thank you by the way, do appreciate it. The game's just a lot, right? And part of the problem when setting up this scenario that I decided to go with, the world in conflict, it's just massive, is that I mentioned this in the earlier part, but it's spread over 3 scenario starts, right? So it's like scenario 3, scenario 7, and then bits of scenario 10 or scenario 10 figures it all out together, because basically this is a scenario and then this is a scenario and then this ties it all together. And because of that, of course, I made a few mistakes when starting out. One of which was the upgrade markers, like for the Soviets. So evidently they already have theirs, so I went ahead and adjusted for that. We'll make them a little better at combat because now they'll be at 2 fortitude instead of 1. So good stuff there. The Americans, I think, were already on the right spot, but I made sure they're on turn 36. And that's one of those things. You're gonna, if you play one of these world conflict scenarios, they're fun. I enjoy it, but it's deep and there's a lot going on with it. So take it slow. The best thing that I can say for trying to play a game of this size, and this is any game of this size, not just this game, is just be organized. Be as organized as you can. Try to lay everything out. Have the components in front of you when you're reading the rule book. Have the components in front of you when you're setting everything up. Because one of the things I was missing was this player aid. I had tucked it to the side and it was underneath my production stuff. And this would have actually affected our combats that we had going on. Because you see Swamp there where we had some combat in the previous video was -2 to the violence number for both. So a lot less damage would have been done. Now, we're not going to worry about retconning that at this point. We are going to make sure we keep track of this. Because I was sitting there thinking, no, I've got the terrain effects chart. I've got it right here. And then I know it's like, okay, yeah, you got to check the terrain effects. I'm like, all right, where's that? And I'm looking through everything. And it had just gotten mixed into the production charts, which we're going to see later on. Now, the thing of it is I am going to start playing some of this off camera. There's just no way for me to cover as much as I want. And I was trying to figure out, what's the best way to film this? What's going to be best for you all? And I think the best is for me to try to show at least a little bit of everything, right? I'm not going to be able to show a whole game. There's no way. I'm not Callendale. I'm not that good, right? I can't play this for years on end, not to mention that, like I said, this is going to be a nursery here soon, and her stomach's starting to round out. So I'm going to need the room back at some point. I do have a hard cutoff date. But I want to show you guys as much of it as I can. So today we're going to show some more combat up here, and we're going to include aircraft, and I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Usually I try to randomize things, but I'm going to pick some specific airplanes so I can show the air combat, how that's going to work, and how air superiority, and then some attack aircraft and how they work and all the other good stuff. And then we're going to see if we can do some events as well, let you guys see how those work, do some event pulses, make it nice and good, try to cover, a variety of things. Next video, we'll probably jump into doing some ship combat, maybe a few more events as well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I think I'm on a Soviet pulse because I think I finished off with an attack over there on the Germans, and if I didn't, oh well, they get an extra pulse. I'm going to try to do another garrison, but I need to see which one needs it. I think that one has a garrison right there. I'm going to check just to be sure, but I want to try to garrison up as much of these guys as I can because I know I'm going to be attacking across all to here, and the garrisons are extra just free units. And I'm looking at it, that looks like it's got 4. It's 3, 3, 3. So where am I likely to put an assault? I'm likely to go that way because I want to try to clear it off because now there's a gap here. I might bring these units up just to try to fill the gap a little bit, or I bring some units up just to keep the Soviets from coming around into my 6 and going after some of the backside. Because if you can pin people in and they're forced to retreat and they can't retreat, then they end up taking casualties just like any other game. So yeah, I might have to move some of those forces over. But if I'm doing that, then I know I want to come across here. Well, let me put it where I know I'm going to attack, just for giggles. And I'm thinking I'm going to attack here next, try to head down low. So we're going to go here for our garrison pulse. And remember, garrison table right there. So let's roll real quick. We'll just roll on the table, make it easy. 4 should be a success. Yep, they get the garrison. So we'll take and put this. I'm going to just put it on top for ease. But that does activate them. So, or flip them, rather. Let me get my big set of tweezers out here. Try to keep everything nice and neat because it's so tight. There we go. Perfect. All right. And we will kick over with an attack. So we're going to go right into the German pulse. And that tank there on top is going to attack over into the one that just garrisoned up. I do believe that river comes down. I don't think I'm attacking across a river there. I'll check it. If I'm wrong, we'll attack somewhere else. But let me set these units over onto the front and we'll get going. Okay, so we're set up. And this is the one part, I swear, it just drives you nuts because you got to get everything set up. But this is the part that makes the game stand out because there's so much intricacies to combat instead of just, let's add up all their attack power, roll that many dice. You actually come over here and plot out what happens. It's really neat how this works. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and get cracking. And I threw some aircraft into it just to show you guys how this is going to work, okay? We've got 3 Soviet aircraft and 1 Romanian aircraft, all right? So since they were involved, I decided to go with theirs. No German aircraft in this one. And I specifically gave them numerical superiority for a reason, to show you guys how that's going to work. So when you have that, right? When you have one side, because you're supposed to do this secretly, and I haven't come up with a great way to do it currently, because when you're competitive, you would have one player who says, I'm bringing aircraft, the other says, okay, I'm flying counter air, and they secretly decide on how many aircraft they're bringing. Boom. The equal numbers go up here, and they have air-to-air combat, and the excess come down and do TAC air strikes against the ground combat. So playing against yourself, it's kind of hard. You have to decide, okay, am I giving one side an advantage? Which works here because I want it to show. But otherwise, I'm like, the best way I'm kind of thinking is maybe doing like a double roll. Like, do they bring aircraft 1 to 3? No. 4 to 6? Yes. If they do bring aircraft, do it like a D3 type thing. So 1, 2 is 1 aircraft, 3, 4 is 2, 5, 6, 3. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You know, obviously army dependent, because you have to have an army per aircraft that you bring, because they count as like the air base for the aircraft. So the first thing that we have going on here is going to be our airstrike table. We'll resolve the air combat first. Now, this is considered to be simultaneous. Let me hold up these counters real quick so you guys can see them. So you see we've got a Romanian with 3-2 and a Yak Soviet 4-1. So that's their air and ground attack on both. So this one's a little bit better at air to air than this one is. So he is going to have an advantage, but we are going to roll for both effectively simultaneously, see if they hit each other. And whoever's attacking is going to look at the attacker table. Now, when it's done like this, you're going to roll for both, and the number is effectively the same, so it really doesn't matter which column you're looking at as far as it's concerned. Let's start with the Soviet, firing at him. He's got an air-to-air power 4. So we go down to the defensive air-to-air power of 3, come across to 4, and it gives us a number of 4, which means on a D10 roll, he needs to roll a 4 or higher to throw him into the shattered box. So let's roll for him and see what he gets. Come on, take him out. 10. Yeah, he's shattered. definitely shattered. Now we'll roll for him getting attacked, because he does get to attack back. 3 attack power versus 4 strength is a 6. So has to be a 6 or higher to shatter the Soviet aircraft. So let's roll for the Soviets, see what they get. No, they miss. So we know that this aircraft will go to the committed box and be able to come back next time. So air power worked out pretty well for him. Now, again, when we come down to here, we've seen some of this happen before, and it's very similar in how this is going to work. The right number is their ground attack factor, so we can see they each have a 2. I decided to go after the Romanian units because you're comparing against the fortitude, and those would be easier to take out. Now, I know specifically with minor nations like Italy that their number, like this one's a 1-1 or a 1-2. With Italy, it goes up when they're stacked with German units. I think that's the same way with the Romanians. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm leaning in that direction. I think that's how it works, that if they're stacked with Germans, they do get the bonus. So we're going to go with that. If I'm wrong and the designer sees this and knows it, let me know and I'll fix it. But I think I'm right on this. So their fortitude is 2. So they're 2-2, which should be a roll of a 5. Yeah. They have to hit a 5 or better. And same thing, airstrike table. So real easy to know. We'll start with this one here, see if he gets them. Actually, we can roll them both together because they're both 2s. It doesn't matter which one gets hit. Remember that these aircraft can have either G's or B's next to their number, which means they're either good or bad at it, which either gets them rolling 2 dice and picking the best or 2 dice and picking the worst. So let's roll and see what they get. Come on, good numbers. 1 good one. So they took out 1. So one of these guys goes to the shattered remnants. Not too bad. Not too bad. So we can put these guys into our used box. And I do try to keep these spread out into bomber type aircraft and fighter type aircraft. The space is kind of limited, but if you can do that, it makes it much easier to keep track of what's what when you're using it. Now we got to do our attack. And some other people were putting down in the comments about suggestions of how to do this. Someone's suggestion was to have your chart and you pick for the attackers what they're going to do, and then pick what the defenders are going to do, like their best opportunity, their best defense would be X, and then see if they actually roll that, or was it? Yeah. So you roll to see if they actually do that, and then if they don't, then you roll randomized. So let's try that once, see how it works. You guys let me know what you think is better as far as it's concerned. We're going to go normal attack again. I probably always going to go with normal attack just because it's easy. So normal attack. And normal attack, the best for the defenders. Let's see. We definitely don't want attackers firing first. It's all going to be simultaneous. And there's no modifiers as far as terrain. This is clear terrain. The tank would get to increase their violence number, their attack, if it wasn't bad weather. Since it is bad weather, they're not going to get to increase that. They would get to double it. So let's see. 2-3 simultaneous. Defender retreats. Defender flips. A flips unless A flips on hits. Really doesn't look like. And these two are the same. Defender can hold. Defender flips. Defender or A flips on hits. This just raises the violence number, and we want to probably try to keep the violence number low as possible, just to keep from getting, like, we're just trying to hold out right now. So I think balanced defense would probably be best for him. Where's my D6? All right, 1-3 they don't do it. 4-6 they do a balanced defense. All right. Now, let's roll and see what they are going to get. 2, So that is hold at all cost. Simultaneous, a little bit higher on the violence numbers though. So that's not good. They're going to take some damage. Defender can hold. Defender flips. A flips on hits. Well, we want them to take at least some hits. Now the violence number, they're going to have 6 for the Germans and 4 for the Soviets. Let's go ahead and roll for the Soviets real quick. They're looking for 5 or under to get a hit. All right, come on, big money. Oh, they only got 1 hit. 1 hit. So bad. So bad. Okay. And 6 for the Germans. They need 4 or under. And they got 1 hit, which isn't going to do anything for anyone. 1 hit each. Yeah, since theirs is 2, theirs is 2. Nothing's going to happen except both sides are going to flip. Yeah, the defender's going to flip. It means they're both going to be marked as used for this round. Damn, that just didn't do much of anything. All right, so let's pan them back and we'll go back to our map. All right, so we flip back over and all told, not too much. The fact that the Soviets held, that fortitude number going up is really a huge deal for them. It'll allow them to hold so much longer. And I'm hoping this kind of defense and depth that I've gone with will work for them. I think I need to pull some more people up, try to cover that area a little bit more, because if they get punched through, it's going to really hurt them. Like I said, the Soviets can bring back a lot of units to the board. Okay, so we are going to do the Soviet pulse next. And I've got my little bowl here. Let me adjust my lighting. Okay, so I got my little bowl here full of all the chits that can be drawn. We're going to randomly draw one of the chits. And since it is everything, we're Europe, the Asian theater, and Americas, all of it's in here. So VE, VJ, and WC counters are all in here. So I'm going to look away, draw one, teach you guys how to read these things. All right, we got VE10, which is good since we're in Europe. So what that means is since we are in year 1942, we read this as VE1042. So we're going to go to our little book here, event booklet. Let me put right there. Let's see. Starts with WC. Does it go to VE? Yeah, VE 45. Okay, here we go. VE 4210. Let me set this up here out of the way so I don't lose it for later. Okay. This is our event, Duke of Acosta. And actually, let me do one more thing before I forget. Forgive the mess. And across right up here, UN events drawn. 1. Keeping track of how many of those we've drawn. Okay. Back from the mess. Now we'll do our event. All right. Death. If Aedis Alba is UN held, Italy's Duke of Aosta dies, remove Aosta from the HQ. All right, so A1416. Let's look. 1416 should be right there. Okay. It's definitely not UN held, so he's not going to die. Grofaz, if Germany is at war with the USSR, which they are, Sevastopol is UN controlled, Paris is Axis controlled, and the Rundstedt HQ is on the map. I think he is. Then De Fuhrer becomes Rundstedt for failure to take Sevastopol. Roll 2d6 and place Rundstedt that many turns ahead on the turn record track. He arrives on that turn as a reinforcement and returns to duty. Okay. Let me see if I can find Rundstedt real quick. Okay. Found Mr. Rundstedt here. And yeah. UN controlled. They definitely have Paris. Yeah. Okay. So he is going to go ahead that many turns. Well, damn, that sucks. Let's roll 2d6 and see where he's going to go. 8 turns ahead. Wow. Okay. Damn, he's gone for the moment. Let's see, we're here. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Already a bunch of stuff there. Okay. So he is down. And Air Tech, the Soviets get the LA-5, US gets the B-24. I have to mark that. Sorry if you can hear the door. My kid was running around. Ship builds, the BB Howe for Britain. 1 turn. Let me look. Okay, so we got a couple things out of this. We got the battleship, the Howe, getting built in 1 turn. So let's put that on our build track, which is right up here. Put him right there. All right, and we also got the guy here, Konev's, Konev, getting deployed. So we'll deploy him. And the one last part of this is UN Conference Moscow A3116. I have no idea what that means. I've only got so much quiet time with the kids not in the house, so we're going to have to figure that one out later. If I forget to look it up, post thing to annotate it in the video, feel free to put it down in the comments, and I'll just update that one at a later time. All right, so that's the basics of how events work in this game, and you're going to have a whole bunch of these things play out. Huge booklet, and like I said, you can turn these into cards. They tell you how to do that in the rule book if you want to do that and just to make them that way, but I find the books easy enough. And it took me a little while to figure this out. The first time I played this game, the variants are in the back of these books. Okay, so if it tells you about some little variant, those things I'm not overly sweating myself with, that's what all of these are. So when it gives you some little name of a variant, you'll come back here and pull it up. So we've got just a couple more minutes. Let's go ahead and do one event for the Axis as well. Let you guys see how one of their events plays out. And the thing is, these things, they just take so long to play out. That's the kind of bad part about filming them, is that it just takes a little while to work through the book, figure out what all the little things are that are happening. Some of them you'll just glance at and boom, 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 you're done. But some of them, if you're having to pull out units and move things around, it does take a minute. So let's go ahead and shuffle this up, see what we get. Come on. Something good, something very good. Let me look away, and we'll go with, what is this? WC7. Okay. That's a world conflict 7. So throw that up, and at least that'll be towards the book. Here we go. WC 42-1, WC 42-7. Australian fascist. Interesting. If Japan controls any ports in Australia, they don't. The fascist traders of Inky Stephenson's Australia's first movement form a pro-Japan militia in Australia. Deploy them. They're not there. Politics. Let me turn it down just a bit. If Colombia is neutral, its voters go to the polls. Roll 2d6. On 3 or less, rabid anti-American candidate, blah, 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 is elected president, Colombia goes pro-Nazi. Let me look. I think Colombia is neutral right now. Yes. They are neutral. So let's roll 2d6 and see what we're going to get. Are they going to become Nazis? Let's hope not. No, they do not become Nazis. We got a 7. So deploy. Axis may create 1 Celtic Collaborator Legion in its home hex. See that special rule. I'll do that one off camera. Alliance. If Chile is pro-Soviet and Argentina is neutral, roll 1d6 on a 1 to 4. Argentina goes pro-Nazi. All right, give me a sec. There's no way I can have all these memorized because there's so many nations to keep track of. on the board. Hell, I don't even know how many nations, like 50, 60 nations that you keep track of. So there's no way to tell. You have to use that player 8 a lot. This one. So let me take a look real quick and see who's neutral and who's not. Okay, so Chile is not pro-Soviet. They are neutral, and so is Argentina. So we do not have to worry about that one. I just have to create one Celtic Collaborator Legion and its home hex, which I think some of those guys might have started. I think those are the black counters that start the scenario. Ooh, I could be wrong. Maybe I put those guys in the wrong spot. I'll have to look that up for the next video. All right, I'm gonna leave this here like this so I can take and check it out later off camera instead of wasting time for you guys. But that's where we're at. We're still pushing through with the Germans into Russia. Hopefully we can get to Moscow and take them out, but I don't know if that one's going to happen. We'll just have to see. Next video, we'll do some battleship battles and aircraft carrier battles, do some interceptions. You guys haven't seen real like naval conflict yet. The Pearl Harbor scenario stuff that we did earlier wasn't really normal naval combat. So I want you guys to see how that actually does work out. And then we'll cut back to some more combat over here. Maybe, like I said, I'm going to play a little bit of it off camera just so we can get a little bit farther ahead so you guys can see a little bit of everything. Feel free to put it down in the comments if you have any questions about any aspects of the game. Like I said, the designer's been watching it. So if you are curious about something, he might be able to answer it if I'm not able to. So definitely feel free to ask any questions that you might have about it. And like I said, keep it in mind, I do have rose-colored glasses. This one, it's kind of like a diamond in the rough for me when it comes to this game. It does have its flaws. It's got its little nicks. It's picky. You got to move stuff around a lot, but there's just a little gem here that I get a kick out of, even with its garish colors that most people don't like. To me, it just looks cool, and that's because I started out with this one. You know, this was my first Hex Encounter war game. So for me, it's just like, wow, look at all the colors. Aren't they pretty? You know, it's just neater than hell to me. All right. But like I said, put your questions down below and I will try to answer them. Y'all take care. I'll see you in the next one.